So, hello, today we have Risa. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, hello. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm Reasa Selph. I'm a mom, a business owner, and have become an advocate of things that I have healthcare that I never thought I would step into.
Yeah, it's a really important thing to be able to advocate for your children and your family when things aren't working the way that they should. Um, so would you like to tell us a little bit about how that came about?
Yeah, we're just living life, and we have two sons. One is now 23, and one is now 13. But at the time when he was 11, the I don't know, second week of December, he caught the flu. Teacher calls us, we take him home, and the next day I was like, yeah, probably should go get him a little bit of fluids. He seems to be dehydrated. So we go to our local kind of trusted ER that we have, South Lake Methodist. So it's, just here in the community. And we take him, he gets an IV, we get a little bit of medication, and we go home, thinking it's the flu. So we go home, he gets stay sick for a day or two, and then he starts to just kind of regress. And it was like a pretty shocking, fast regression. So the 22nd of December, we kind of watched him. The 23rd, he was pretty bad that he could barely walk. So we said, okay, let's go back to the hospital. We had been there before. There seemed to be a great facility. So, and they're local. And we go back and we're there for about a little under 2 hours. And she says, hey, he's fine. He has a virus. Don't worry about it. Go home. The only time kind of looking back that I kind of second guess is he couldn't pee. And so I, asked the nurse, I was like, hey, is that a problem? She's like, no, don't worry about it. He'll, pee when you get home. So we go home, and so now we've turned into Christmas Eve, and he's sleeping. And our oldest son comes home from school. So then Christmas morning comes around, and my oldest son says, I have to wake him up. And I'm like, he doesn't feel good. She said it was just a virus. He's like, but my gut tells me I need to wake him up. And so we let him wake him up. And he could he was barely mobile, and we get him downstairs, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, she said it's a virus, maybe you need to eat, maybe you need to drink a little bit more. So that mom in us, like, we're trying to
Yeah.
feed, hydrate them. And but he kept saying that he was still dizzy or confused from the previous visit, because he said that before. And so I decided to take his blood pressure, but it was so low I thought the machine was broken. So I looked over at him, and he was yellow. And I was like, oh, this is not good. And so we called our pediatrician at home, and I said, what do we need to do? She said, you need to go back to the hospital, but this time go to the children's hospital. So we did, and they met us there. Getting out of the car, Nicholas said, Mom, don't leave me. And I said, absolutely not. And as a parent, you don't really think anything's like horribly wrong with your child. So I'm thinking, oh, we'll be here a day or two. Soon as we get there, they take him in the wheelchair, and it's just like suddenly people are just starting to, come in like lots of doctors. And they had activated sepsis protocol. And it was a while before I realized how exactly sick he was. But that was a moment that I've just seeing all those doctors started to work on him. It was pretty intense. They put us in the PICU, or the pediatric ICU, um, within about 2 hours, and we're there. And at this point, kind of the days are a little bit blurred, but um, he said, I think I'm going to vomit. And so I grab a blue vomit bag, and he vomits a pint of blood.
Oh my goodness.
And so I knew even more like we're in a serious situation. And then he says, I see Jesus' lamb, Mom. And I was like, not today, like we are not. we're not doing this. So the ICU doctor looked at me and said, "We're going to intubate him either here or in surgery in the next 5 minutes. Like he has to be intubated." And he just looked at me and, as we're getting ready to him be intubated, he's like, "It's okay if I die." And I was like, It's not okay. It's not okay because I can't leave unless you leave." And so those are some very hard moments as during the next 12 hours, they did some surgeries, put in a PIC line, they did all types of things, but they asked us if they could bring in a priest that they, didn't have high expectations for what the next few days held. So we said no. Um, and so we're living this nightmare, and it was kind of stuck with me, like, how did this happen? And so we
Yeah,
figured out that he had strep A in his blood, and that's what caused the septic shock. And probably by day 10 or 11, I had asked one of the doctors, I was like, I need to understand, how did we go from he has a virus that is okay to we were on a ventilator shortly after. And he looked at me and said, I want to show you something. And he shows me in the record the records from South Lake Methodist where we had been 2 days before we were admitted, and he said he was never fine. Like, she had told us he was fine, but the reality was that his kidneys were already in failure, his liver was in crazy distress, his heart was in distress, he had EKG that was abnormal. She misdocumented all of these things. There's just like this whole list of how does this happen? And I I started really thinking about how to handle that, and um that was a lot.
yeah, it is a lot. It was quite a shock for you.
The betrayal,
Yeah, yeah, you
because
expect that if you go to the hospital, then they're gonna know what to do.
and they're gonna do it. I At this point, I don't know if she knew what to do or not, but I, as a layperson, can look at these records and go, "Oh, this doesn't look right," because there's
Yeah,
red flags and there's things in the system that even I, as a doctor, don't know, but I could tell you it doesn't look right.
yeah.
And so it seems like she just like completely ignored it.
Mm. So what's happened since then with that um situation with that person who ignored it or
So that, we had gone to, South Lake Methodist because we trusted the hospital, trusted what they had done in the community. So I mean, my initial thought was, hey, they're gonna take care of this. Like, that's what you do when you do something
yeah,
wrong. Um, but they ignored us, and we filed a lawsuit, and of course they denied it, and then they denied and said, she's an independent contractor, she doesn't fall under our agency. I mean, all of these legal things, when you go into a hospital, you think that you're going to be covered and taken care of. um, so we had filed the suit, and as we're starting to walk through the process, I realized how challenging it was going to be, and we also wanted change. And so we put the lawsuit on hold for about 6 or 7 months. So, one, we could try to get a legislative bill in front of the Texas House committee, but they had about 8,000 bills in that session, so we didn't get past the floor, which is fine. We'll try again, but we really wanted some changes in the law, and we'll still continue that. But also during that time, we fought back, and we fought back hard. With They received two federal citations or deficiencies for failure to care and failure to stabilize. They The Texas Medical Board and the Texas Nursing Board, I mean, we've had a fight with them and, give a lot of pushback and testify and things like that. But we finally have them, coming our way, and at least acknowledging something wasn't right. But as we've had, you know, medical experts and other experts review these files, this is gross negligence in my opinion. And if I was to do that to my child and ignore symptoms, I would probably be in jail. And for her to that physician or the hospital to get almost like a white coat immunity is very frustrating, especially considering I think we got like a $9,000 bill, and they're just so protected. But she didn't do anything. But actually, her not doing something harmed him more. So because she didn't treat him with antibiotics per sepsis protocol, um, his body went into a lot deeper of the infection, and he'll forever have kidney issues, he'll forever have liver issues. We're fighting with a heart defect now. So all of these things that should not have happened, because we have modern medicine, we should be able to give them antibiotics, didn't happen. And so now he has these long-term consequences, and we're having to fly literally across the country from Texas to Minnesota to get to have Mayo Clinic physicians see him. um it's just been a nightmare, but fighting back um has felt really good, because we're able to show other people that you can stand up, it's okay, and that we don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. So how long has it been? Because you said he was 11 and now he's 13. So has it been two
Yeah,
years?
almost 2 years. Yeah, he turned 13 last week, so it was December 23rd of 23. So we're approaching our 2-year mark. And every day we dedicate time to, uncovering the truth even more. And South Lake Methodist happens to be a large donor in our community. And so I've gotten a lot of pushback from people in the community basically saying, oh, you should just let it go. Things happen. And at one point, someone got so upset that they accused me of having Munchausen syndrome.
Oh,
Um,
goodness.
well, when people can't, counter your facts, they attack your character
Yeah, they do. Yeah. It's absolutely happening all the time. Like,
everywhere. It's
I don't know if
happening.
you're aware of what's happening in the UK, but there's a lot of name calling going on. Um, People are being arrested for social media posts and all sorts. It's quite bad, but obviously that's like, it's not kind of related to what's happened to your son, but it's like similar behavior that was
It,
saying.
it is similar. It's very similar behavior,
Hmm.
because we were actually put on the front page of the Dallas Morning News, and that's one of the large, I think it's in the top 5 news distributions, and they featured our story. And actually, I had people come after me and, like, why would you try to, give negative publicity to this hospital? I'm like, we haven't said anything that is mean. We've just spoken the truth. And Dallas Morning News, and they did their research, and everything we could say, we have record for. But uh, people just don't want their versions of reality disrupted, I don't think.
Yeah, it's quite uncomfortable to think that you might take your child to a hospital and they failed to look after him properly.
And then they send you a $9,000 bill.
Yeah, see, that doesn't happen in the UK, so that's like the cherry on the top, isn't it? Like, I just can't imagine getting a bill when you've been through that.
Yeah.
Awful.
And yeah, and even just the fact that they have the ability to deny and say, oh, well, that didn't happen, or she doesn't work for us. Like, that's not okay, because we went there because of the hospital name. We went there because we trusted them. We went there because
Yeah.
it's local and our safe place, and we feel like that was taken from us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I bet if you probably find it hard to trust that hospital again.
Yeah, I mean, we want other people to know, not only because our experience, but we've had literally hundreds of messages of people with similar experiences, either at the same hospital or with the same hospital and doctor or someplace nearby. So, I mean, it's not okay that we as healthcare consumers need to stand up and say, okay, this is not right, and then to
Yeah.
bill us for it. As a society, we all have to pay for healthcare in the US, and um but we're told that we can't ask any questions.
Oh, you absolutely can ask questions. That's the one of the main things you can do is ask questions.
Right. But we're conditioned from a young age that, like, we trust doctors, we don't
Hmm.
question, and
It's
um
hard to challenge authority as well.
yeah.
It
I
is
think as moms
difficult.
it is. But I think as moms we tend to that in in our 40s and 50s we're like, okay, enough is enough, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you get fobbed off when you're in your teens and 20s, and then by the time you get to your 40s, you're just like, no, I'm not putting up with that.
Right? I mean, we're a lot faster to say no. I mean, I own a business and we've lost some business because of it, but I'm like, okay, like
Hmm.
I probably didn't want to work with them anyway because
No,
yeah, I need people with some same core values and doing the right thing. And but it's been hard for me to understand why some people would not speak up, but yet they're quick to cancel a lot of other things.
yeah.
But
So, how is your son now? You've mentioned that he's still got health conditions and, battles to go through. Is it impacting his day-to-day life and his quality of living?
so um we got a 6-month reprieve from going to the Mayo Clinic, so that was a huge win for us. Most of his issues are really going to be like long term as he's getting older, things like that. He ended up with about 6 surgeries, two on his wrist and two on his hip, and then two others. But the two on his joints, because now Nicholas at just turned 13, he is right at 6'3", 200 and something pounds, loves football, and so we're concerned about how that's going to affect him playing football later. But the day-to-day changes, he doesn't really get to live like a 12, 13-year-old would. We have to really watch hydration. We have to really change our food and our diet. Just teaching him about those things because his kidneys and liver, we got to keep them as healthy as possible. He'll never be able to, have an alcoholic drink when he gets older just because his liver's in such bad shape. And just watching the little things. If he doesn't get enough water, his blood pressure shoots to the roof. So you don't get to do some of those things that you would normally get to do as a 13-year-old. You don't get to eat all the crap and, good and bad, right? But
Yeah,
those things in his life has changed. He has to take medications, which those aren't things we wanted for our 13-year-old.
yeah. Of course you don't. And of course he's so young as well. He's got his whole life to kind of live with these limiting factors that happened as a result of negligence.
Yeah. And, one of our pieces that we're asking for is accountability. We want change within the system. And I think we can do that through legislative measures. But we want Nicholas whole. We've put out about 1.5 million of our own dollars for healthcare and for, all the things that we've had to do, tie him off of work and things. But, um, we want those things made whole, but we have concerns for Nicholas, like, will he have a problem getting life insurance when he's an adult? Will he, have a problem getting health insurance? What does that rate, things look like? And he has an issue now with his back. What does a back surgery look like for him later in life? All
Hmm.
because she could have just treated him or transported him or whatever.
Yeah. It's such a series of, oh, what if only,
Yeah.
and you did everything right because you took him to the hospital twice.
Well, the mom guilt though, right?
Yeah,
It's mom
absolutely.
guilt is tough, and because I felt so bad that I listened to them at the hospital, and I felt bad because I tried to feed him and this and that, but I just didn't know. So
Yeah,
it that took a lot of therapy for me to get over or to move past.
absolutely. Yeah, that must be really tough. I know that guilt's a big thing when you're a mom.
Oh, it's a beating. But the corporate gaslighting that we got from the hospital was tremendous. I mean, I really I hear about things like that, but I never actually believed it. But it
Yeah.
was bad.
Mm. So have you still got ongoing legal case going on now?
We do. We are in the discovery or starting the discovery phase of our lawsuit. We have a hearing coming up. We have a trial date set. We're actually hoping that it gets moved forward because we do believe justice should be served here. Um, and then we also have, we're helping work on some bills for the next legislative session in Texas, um, to help, hopefully, the idea is to make healthcare better. Um, but also, one of the things that we'll initiate at some point will be a system that helps other people that are being, not able to speak out or don't know how to file those complaints, that we'll be able to assist with those.
Yeah, that's a good way of giving back to help other people. So what would you say to some like other mothers who, to try and, what should mothers look for if if that sort of situation was to happen? What do you think, like with hindsight, because obviously you didn't know before, what would you like other mothers to know?
One, go to a pediatric hospital if it's for your child, and even if it's your husband or whatever, go to an appropriate hospital, but trust your gut, ask questions, ask to see those labs, ask to see any of those tests run before you leave.
Hmm.
And, we're not all doctors, but most of us can look at something and see if it says high or his blood pressure was so low and his respiratory rate was high. Like, if we would have known, we would have spoke up more. So speak up, advocate, ask questions. And if you don't like the first answer, go someplace else or ask for somebody else. I mean, I hate to be that Karen, but really that's kind of where we're at with healthcare. I mean, we we expect better service out of industries that we pay a lot less into.
Hmm. Well, absolutely. And because people don't do the jobs properly, you do have to be more Karen,
Yeah. Well,
but all
in
do.
a lot of we do, right? And because a lot of things that we see on the outside, like, oh, they have rating, they're all self-reported. So they're putting in whatever report for them. And so you get a little bit of a false sense of security. And
Hmm.
I mean, that's, in my opinion, not okay either, but it's where we're
Yeah,
at.
yeah. Is that like a rating or something that you're talking about?
Yeah. So they do like ratings of like patient satisfaction and they all kinds of ratings, right? But they're all self-reported. So if you
Yeah,
Google, it's incredible that we allow that. But
yeah. Well, you can frame the questions in a certain way, can't you? When
yeah,
you're doing that sort of research, that sort of survey. Yeah, absolutely. So, other than helping other families and supporting your son who's still going through all that, is there anything else that you're sort of trying to promote the message for? Or you haven't written a
no,
book or anything.
no, not yet. We'll
You
see how
haven't
this
got
plays
time for
out.
that yet, have you?
Not yet. Let's see how this plays out. Because I do think this is very much a story that most of us can all learn from. Sometimes it's hard as parents or as women to speak up, and we kind of get oh, she's crazy or whatever. But the reality is it's okay. Ask, push, um, and keep those documents, take those pictures. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, it is. It's good to ask questions. I think, like, yeah, when I think about if you just sat with this person who said everything was fine and said, well, take me through the results, and she'd gone through it with you, that she would have had to explain herself a little bit more, wouldn't she?
She would, and um, at the time, she really didn't come into the room. She had the nurse do all of that, but we were able to ask some of those questions with the nurse or the medical board, and it's still corporate gaslighting at its best, but it's tough because no one could give us answers.
Yeah, it's not good, and it shouldn't be down to you to ask loads of questions. They need to be doing their job properly, but that's where we are, really, isn't it?
Uh,
It shouldn't be down to us to cause a fuss.
no, I mean, we trust our accountant to manage our money. We should be able to trust our doctor to manage it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you so much, Risa, for coming on my podcast. It's been really interesting to talk to you, and I hope your son gets as well as he can be after his traumatic experience.
yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for sharing our message.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to speak directly to the women listening who might be struggling in silence. So maybe you're living with the fallout of a husband or partner who's suddenly decided he's a woman, leaving you feeling confused, coerced, or even pressured into things you never consented to. Maybe you're a mother with a daughter or a son who now says they're trans, and you're carrying the heartbreak of that loss without anyone around you really understanding. Or maybe you've been cancelled, silenced, or bullied in your workplace, in your family, or even online, and you're left questioning your reality, your confidence, and your sense of self. If any of that sounds familiar, I just want you to know that you're not alone, and you don't have to keep pushing through it on your own strength, because that's exactly why I offer counselling for women. It's a private, safe, and non-judgmental space where you can say the unsayable. And I know how hard it can be to put words to feelings of betrayal, grief, or anger, especially when the world around you just wants you to be quiet. In our sessions, you'll be heard, believed, and supported without judgment. My work is grounded in person-centered counselling, but I also bring in other tools like inner child work, trauma-informed approaches, and relational models to help you uncover what's really going on beneath the surface. Together we'll explore how the past is shaping the present, untangle the dynamics of coercive or narcissistic relationships, and give you space to grieve losses that others might dismiss or deny. The women that I work with often tell me that our sessions give them clarity, strength, and the ability to start making decisions that honour their own needs, sometimes for the first time in years. And so whether you're trying to rebuild after coercion, come to terms with ambiguous loss, or simply reconnect with who you are, therapy can be the place where you start to feel like yourself again. And I offer a free, no obligation consultation so that you can see if working together feels like the right fit. There's no pressure, just a chance to talk about what you need and how I might be able to help. You can find out more at kellyoliverdougal.co.uk. You deserve a space where you are truly heard, and if this speaks to you, I'd be honoured to walk alongside you on your journey of healing and strength.